Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are going to unpack one of the most fundamental ideas in all of programming, JavaScript variables. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll see exactly how the apps you use every day manage to remember pretty much everything.
I mean, really, how do they do it? Well, the magic behind an app remembering your name or your game keeping that high score comes down to this one simple but really powerful concept: variables. You can think of them as the basic building blocks for storing any piece of information a program needs to hang on to. Okay, so to get started, just think of it this way. Every single program needs some way to hold onto information. And in JavaScript, the tool we use for that job is called a variable. Honestly, the absolute best way to picture a variable is just as a container, a simple box. You give that box a name, a label, and then you can put information inside it to use whenever you need it later. And this right here, it visualizes the whole idea perfectly. We've got a box, that's our storage container, and we've labeled it fruit. The information we've decided to put inside it, the value, is mango. It really is that simple. So check this out. Here's how that simple idea translates directly into code. That keyword let is basically you telling JavaScript, hey, I'm making a new box. Fruit is the label we're slapping on it, and the value, mango, is what we're putting inside. That's it. Now, just like you can't label a real-world package with, just gibberish, there are specific rules for naming these information boxes in JavaScript. This just makes sure the program can always find what it's looking for. Think of it kind of like grammar, right? To avoid any confusion, JavaScript has a few key rules. Your names can have letters, numbers, and even a $ or an underscore. But, and this is a big one, they can't start with a number and they can't be special words the language already uses, like if. Oh, and always remember, case matters.
So you can see here, names like $ or underscore, totally fine. They play by the rules. But if you try to start a name with a number, like in tomorrow, or use a forbidden character like a hyphen, your program is gonna throw an error.
Okay, but beyond all the technical rules, here's maybe the most important tip I can give you. Make your names descriptive. A variable named home address is like 1,000 times clearer to another developer or even just to yourself in 6 months than something super vague like ABC. All right, so we've got our boxes, we know how to name them, but what can we actually put inside? Let's take a look at the most common and basic types of data, what programmers often call primitives. Probably the most common thing you're going to store is just text. And in the programming world, we call that a string. Basically, anything you wrap in quotes, single or double, doesn't matter, is treated as a string, whether it's one letter or a whole book. And next up, of course, we've got numbers. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's for any kind of numerical data, from a user's age to the price of something in a shopping cart. It can be a whole number or have a decimal. Then we have Booleans. Seriously, just think of these as a light switch, an on-off switch. A value can only ever be one of two things, true or false. It sounds simple, but this concept is the absolute foundation for all logic and decision-making in your code. Okay, now this next one, it tends to trip people up at first, but it's actually pretty straightforward. Undefined just means a box has been created, but it's totally empty. Nothing's been put inside yet. Null, on the other hand, is a value you assign on purpose. It means I am intentionally setting this box to contain nothing. It's a subtle but important difference. So what if we want to swap out what's inside a box? Or what if we want to make absolutely sure that the contents can never be changed? Well, this brings us to two very, very important keywords. This is where let and const come into play. Using let is like creating a normal, flexible box. You can change its contents whenever you want. But using const, that's short for constant. That's like creating a sealed box. Once you put something in there, it's locked for good. And here's a pro tip. A lot of developers now actually prefer using const by default, just because it makes their code more predictable and prevents accidents. Let's look at a perfect example. We use let to create a variable called address, and we put Bangalore in it. Then, later on, we can just reassign it a new value, USA. The old value gets replaced, and the program just keeps on chugging along, no errors. But if you try to pull that same move with a variable you made with const, well, JavaScript is going to stop you right in your tracks. It'll throw what's called a type error, which is actually a good thing. It's like a security guard protecting your important data, say a user's birth date, from being changed by mistake. So we've been talking a lot about these, quote, boxes, right? But where do they actually live inside the computer? Let's take a quick peek behind the curtain to see how the computer's memory actually keeps track of all this stuff. At a really high level, you can basically think of your computer's memory like this giant warehouse, and it has two main sections for storing all our little boxes. A really organized area called the stack, and a more, let's say, flexible open space called the heap.
And here's the deal with how that works. All those simple things we just talked about, strings, numbers, booleans, they get stored directly in that super organized section, the stack. It's incredibly fast and efficient. The more complex data gets stored in the more flexible heap, and the stack just holds a little claim ticket, basically a reference, that tells the program exactly where in the heap to find the bigger item. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that these simple labeled boxes, they are the fundamental building blocks of literally everything. Every piece of information, every decision, every single interaction in the software you use every day, it all starts with a simple variable. And that really leads to the most important question. What are you going to build with them?